Howdy, folks. Welcome back. This is Cameron, and I've got a doozy for you today. Today, we're going to talk about brain health, Alzheimer's, dementia, MS to some degree, and really any neurodegenerative disease falls within the scope of what I'm going to talk to you about today. And let's first start off by saying what probably everyone who is watching this knows, and that is our body is designed to remove waste. Duh, right? So if you eat something, how's it going to come out? In the form of poo. Unless it's really bad and you have food poisoning, then it's probably going to come out both ends. And if you drink something, after your body processes and assimilates and uses that liquid, the remainder is going to be turned to urine and removed via the kidneys. But what about the brain? It has a removal system as well. And this actually has only been recently discovered. And I want to say in 2012 was the first time that it was discovered. And this is really important because what they also have determined is that as toxins build up in our brain over time, and that can be in the form of many different ways. First and foremost, I'm sure you've heard, referring back to Alzheimer's and dementia, these amyloid plaques and proteins that build up in the body. I'm sorry, build up in the brain that are the air quotes cause of these neuro diseases. But also, let's say your liver's overburdened from a lifestyle of partying and eating bad foods and so on. Well, at some point, it's going to reach a threshold where it can no longer process and detoxify all this crap that you're eating. So the remaining toxins spill over into your bloodstream. Well, when they're in the bloodstream, they don't just stay in the liver, they get circulated throughout your body. And when those toxins reach your brain, they become part of the cerebral spinal fluid that your body uses in its garbage disposal system to remove the toxins. But in addition to those toxins that maybe your liver can't process, we also have stress that actually, excuse me, that also has been shown to have an effect on our brain as well. So, and then we have the waste products that I was referring to earlier. And we also have dead cells, they're called senescent cells. Every moment our body is processing these dead cells and trying to remove them. Well, let's go back to the garbage disposal system that I was referring to earlier in the brain. Again, very, very recent discovery. And what they also discovered is this system is activated, if you will, in the third stage of sleep. Now, I'm not talking about REM sleep. I'm talking about there's another stage of sleep called the third stage of sleep. So if you are not sleeping well, this system is not activated. So then what's going to happen? You're going to have a buildup of all these amyloid proteins, amyloid plaques, excuse me, that get stuck in the arteries of your brain that cause calcification that are seen on an MRI that are the result of what happens when these toxins can't be removed. Neurodegenerative diseases. But then also, like I said, we have the toxins, we have the stress, we have the waste products, we have the dead cells that need to be removed by this system in our brain, this glial lymphatic system. And that just simply comes from glial are the cells collectively of the brain. Well, the glial lymphatic system, excuse me, the lymph system and I'm sure all of you are familiar with the lymph system. Well, that's what the lymph system does in our body. If you've ever been to the gym or if you've ever worked out and you felt that burn in your muscle, that lactic acid, that burning within the muscle, well, your lymph system is what removes that. That is a toxic buildup. It's a byproduct of, of energy being metabolized, being used in your body. So your body deals with that lactic acid, the acid being the toxin. It gets rid of it by the partially by the lymph system. Well, that lymph system in our brain is called the glial cells of the brain. Remember, I said there's four different types of cells in the brain that are combined with the lymph system. So the glial lymphatic system is that garbage disposal system that's in the brain. That glial lymphatic system is activated most effectively in that third stage of sleep. That is so important to remember, which is why I just repeated it, because so many people do not sleep for a variety of different reasons. It could be diet because they eat too close to bedtime, so their body's trying to process the food and they can't sleep. And again, just a number of different reasons. So there is something though that there's a number of different things that we can do to prevent not only this amyloid plaque protein buildup and the toxins, but we can create a better effective removal system by the things that we do on a daily basis. Now, guys, this is not just a one and done thing. Don't think that you can take a pill or do an exercise session and you're good. It doesn't work that way. The things that you do now, let's say you're 20, 30, 40, the things that you do now when you're, excuse me, when you're 20, 30, 40, affect what's going to happen to you when you're 50, 60, 70. I mean, there is evidence out there that shows we can prevent Alzheimer's, dementia, metabolic imbalances in the form of diabetes onset. We can prevent high cholesterol. I mean, these guys, these are like the three horsemen, the metabolic imbalances leading to diabetes, neurodegenerative diseases, and cardiovascular issues. These are the three big killers, along with number four, which is Peter Attia says is the fourth horseman. It's lack of movement, which causes a whole host of things physiologically, but just speaking strictly from a a biomechanical perspective, it causes a loss of balance. If you fall down and go boom when you're 70 and 80, chances are you're going to die from pneumonia, from inactivity, not from the actual break itself, like say from bleeding out. That's why it's so important to remain active now while we still have the ability, our body still has the ability to be active, because when we're active, that also helps stimulate this system in our brain that creates the toxin and the waste removal process. So let's say you're past 20, 30, 40. Let's say you're 50, 60, 70. There are still things that you can do now to stop, potentially reverse things that have crept up on you all of these years. And you're going to hear me say it. You've heard me say it before, but it really does. It pertains to everything. And that is diet and exercise. When you continuously eat bad stuff, I just gave you the analogy earlier about the liver being overworked and it can't process stuff, so it spills over toxins into the bloodstream, which your blood in the system grabs that and eventually ends up circulating in your brain. And if you're not sleeping well, and if you're not activating that vagus nerve within you that stimulates that glial lymphatic system to do its thing, then those toxins aren't being effectively removed. So what happens then? You start to get forgetful. What was I doing? Why did I come in this room? Did I forget my keys? And I'm not saying if you've forgotten your keys lately or you went into a room and don't remember why you went in there, that you have, on the onset of dementia or Alzheimer's. I'm not saying that at all. I am saying that if you've ever experienced any of these neuro illnesses, that they're frightening, but there are things that you can do now to prevent, potentially reverse what's already been started years ago as a result of a bad lifestyle, or maybe not even a bad lifestyle, just not knowing the things that you needed to do to be proactive in keeping you out of a nursing home or out of an assisted care facility. Again, it goes back to the right type of exercise to stimulate that vagus nerve, the right type of diet to keep the sugar and the fats from spilling over into your blood system because the liver's been overburdened. Everything is tied together. The metabolic system is tied to the cardiovascular system. The cardiovascular system is tied to the endocrine system. The endocrine tied to the neuro system. It is all interwoven. So guys, so incredibly important to not necessarily wait on labs to do this, not wait at all, although that is incredibly helpful if you do have a set of labs. But there are things that you can do now to prevent these dreaded illnesses for you and loved ones. But you just have to be willing to admit that what you're doing is probably not the right thing to do if you want to be healthy at 60, 70, 80, because you can be, but it has to be a combination of things that you do now consistently over time, not just take a pill, drink a shake, eat a vegan diet, and go walk on a treadmill. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you have to have a, a strategy in place, and then that strategy has to involve very specific tactics to address these four horsemen: lack of inactivity, neuro, cardiovascular, and metabolic disturbances that cause diabetes, that cause heart attacks, that cause strokes, and that cause you to fall down and go boom and you break your hip. So do you see how everything is tied together? Everything is tied together. So I'm going to cut it there. And my next video is going to be on cholesterol. And if you go to a doctor and they say your cholesterol is perfect, keep doing what you're doing, not necessarily true. And that is going to be more than likely a 3-part series. And I hope it scares the shit out of you, because if it does, you could very well prevent an early death. So I hope this was helpful, informative. I love researching this kind of stuff. It's so incredibly fascinating to me. I hope you find it fascinating, at the very least informative. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. And as always, I have a variety of coaching solutions to help you navigate the muddy, muddy waters of fitness, nutrition, and health span. Not lifespan, but health span. And what is health span? We want to live a long time, but we want to live a long time in a healthy way. That's what health span is. And that is my goal, to help you increase not only your lifespan, but your health span. So by all means, reach out to me if you have questions, concerns, or you want to get coaching. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.